Good day from Mission Control in Houston and the International Space Station Flight Control Room, where flight controllers here, along with their counterparts across the ocean at the Russian Mission Control Center outside of Moscow, are following the progress of a unpiloted Progress 92 cargo craft. You're seeing a live image of the International Space Station from the Progress. In the middle of those crosshairs, an image of the International Space Station. In the lower left-hand corner, you see two values, the distance currently separating the Progress from its destination and a docking automatically in just a little bit over 42 minutes from now to the Poisk module on the space-facing side of the International Space Station. Currently, Progress just over 5 kilometers away from the station, closing at a rate of just under 9 meters per second. That closure rate will drop to a snail-like pace of about 1/10 of a meter per second at the time of contact and capture to the Poisk module on the space-facing side of the International Space Station's Russian segment. Docking is scheduled at 4:28 p.m. Central Time, 5:28 p.m. Eastern Time. The Progress, which launched 2 days ago from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan, is about to deliver just a shade over 2.8 tons of food, fuel, and supplies for the crew on board the International Space Station. The Expedition 73 crew is led by the commander, Takuya Onishi of the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, 3 NASA astronauts, Anne McClain, Nicole Ayers, and Johnny Kim, and 3 cosmonauts from Roscosmos, Sergei Ryzhikov, Kirill Peskov, and Alexei Zubritsky. They are joined, as they have been for the past week or so, by 4 members of the Axiom 4 private astronaut mission crew, the commander, former NASA astronaut Peggy Whitson, India's Shubhanshu Shukla, Poland's Sławasz Uznanski-Wisniewski, and Hungary's Tibor Kapu. Those 11 crew members have been conducting research and other outreach activities together for the past 9 days or so. The Axiom 4 crew is in the second half of its stay on board the International Space Station. The station and the Progress currently orbiting 260 miles above the planet, moving from northwest to southeast in an orbit inclined 51.6 degrees to either side of the equator. All of the systems on board the Progress have functioned perfectly since its launch a couple of days ago from Baikonur. The pre-programmed series of rendezvous maneuvers and most recently in the last couple of hours, impulse burns, fine course correction burns to refine the Progress's path for its docking to the International Space Station. All of that activity has been conducted flawlessly, and we're expecting an on-time docking of the Progress to the station again at 4:28 p.m. Central Time, just about 39 and a half minutes from now. As mentioned a moment ago, the Progress's journey to the station began atop a Soyuz 2.1A booster that launched from Launch Pad 6, Site 31 at the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan on Thursday afternoon U.S. time at 2:32 and 40 seconds p.m. Central Time, 3:32 and 40 seconds p.m. Eastern Time. Liftoff occurred just 32 minutes after midnight Baikonur time on the 4th of July. It was an 8-minute, 45-second ride to orbit to deposit the Progress from the third stage of the Soyuz booster, at which point the Progress's solar arrays and navigational antennas were deployed, and the Progress began that pre-programmed sequence of rendezvous maneuvers to incrementally increase its altitude to match that of the International Space Station. The launch was flawless, as has been all of the post-launch activities for the Progress, the unpiloted cargo craft that is now less than 39 minutes away from its destination and a docking to the Poisk module on the space-facing side of the Russian segment of the International Space Station. A short time ago, Two of the cosmonauts, Sergei Ryzhikov and Alexei Zabritsky, tested out the Toru system in the Zvezda service module from a control panel. That Toru system is basically an acronym for the telerobotically operated rendezvous system that they would operate through a joystick at that control panel in the unlikely event that a problem would occur with the Corps' automated rendezvous system on Progress. Corps, however, is currently locked on to its target on the International Space Station with a distance of just over 2.5 kilometers now separating the cargo craft from the Poisk module. About 11.5 minutes from now, the Progress will arrive in the neighborhood or the vicinity close in to the International Space Station and will conduct a fly around of about 15 degrees of phase angle to precisely align its forward docking probe to the Poisk module. There will be a very, very brief momentary opportunity for station keeping to allow the Russian flight controllers to assess the precise alignment of that forward docking probe to Poisk before the command is given for initiating final approach that will result in the docking of the Progress to Poisk.
Relative to Progress, and range rate is 8.3. Copy.
The Progress continues with its precise path to the station with a closure rate of just over 8 meters per second. Its closure rate decreasing with every passing second. The distance now just over 2 kilometers separating Progress from Poisk. Once the docking occurs, the forward docking probe will retract to bring the two docking interfaces between Progress and Poisk flush against one another. That will be a soft mate. Then the hooks will close from the Progress side to the docking port on Poisk, forming a hard mate that will enable leak checks to occur on both sides of the docking interface to ensure that we have a tight seal between the arriving cargo craft and the International Space Station. It will be at the crew's discretion at that point, the cosmonauts' discretion, as to whether they would press ahead in the end of a very long workday for them tonight to open up the hatch to Progress and begin to unload its cargo, or simply wait for Sunday morning to begin that task. The Progress has just completed what is known as Impulse 4, the latest in those series of small, fine-tuned mid-course correction burns that will more precisely align its path for the beginning of the fly-around of the station that is just 9 minutes from now. And you can see the Progress now aligning itself with a good view of the International Space Station through this external cross-aired engineering camera on the resupply vehicle.
The center of the vehicle monitor. Copy. Range is 1.
Ryzhikov and Zabritsky will conduct one more test of the Toru backup rendezvous system that they are responsible for controlling in the event a problem would occur with the Corps' automated rendezvous system on the Progress vehicle. However, Corps is in good shape right now, locked on to the Poisk module with a comparable basically a radar beacon system that bounces signals back and forth to ensure that the Progress is on course for a precise alignment of following the fly around of the station and final approach for docking.
All the buttons are released on the BPS signal conversion unit control panel. Activating power. Copy. Power activation confirmed. Control handles are powered.
And there is our first view from the International Space Station's external cameras of the Progress. Again, the Progress began its journey to reach the International Space Station just 2 days, 1 hour and 22 minutes ago, closing in for what is expected to be an on-time link-up to the Poisk module, docking scheduled just 33.5 minutes from now.
And all LEDs have illuminated neutral, LEDs off, moving it to the left. Yaw, All LEDs are on, neutral, off, moving it down. All 4 LEDs are on, neutral, LEDs off.
This view of progress from the station's external cameras as the two vehicles sail in sync about 260 miles above the South Pacific.
Clockwise to the right, all 4 are on, neutral, off. Counterclockwise, all 4 LEDs are illuminated, neutral, LEDs are off. I'm starting the THC test. THC to the right, and all 4 LEDs are on, neutral position, LEDs off, and moving it to the other side, the LEDs are on, LEDs are off, moving it down, the LEDs are on, neutral, they're off, moving it up. 4 LEDs are
You're hearing the translation of reports from Sergei Ryzhikov in the Zvezda service module as he and Alexei Zabritsky run the procedures to test out the Toru backup rendezvous system,
the LEDs are illuminated, moving it to neutral,
which again would only be used in the event of a problem that would prevent the Corps' automated rendezvous system on Progress from guiding the resupply craft in for its unpiloted automated docking that's scheduled just 31.5 minutes from now. 930 meters now separating Progress from the station, closing at a rate of about 2.5 meters per second.
And when they're released, they are not illuminated. THC test is complete, and the test is successful.
And the Toru test now complete and deemed successful. That confirmation coming from the Russian Flight Control Team and the Russian Mission Control Center outside of Moscow.
4 LEDs are on. AGC mode is next. Indication confirmed.
A short time ago here in the Mission Control Room here in Houston, Flight Director Heidi Brewer conducted a poll of her team of flight controllers, and all positions polled go for docking. That information was relayed to her counterpart at the Russian Mission Control Center, so everything is set as we stand by for the beginning of the fly-around by Progress of the International Space Station as it enters the neighborhood of the complex, and with its 11 crew members currently in its pre-sleep period.
Inaudible. I'm waiting for 5 seconds now. Moving it back to initial, and I'm pressing all the way through indication number 1. So I'll keep it as is for now. I'm deactivating the operation mode. LEDs are off. Off for operation buttons, and door hardware tests are complete.
And the 6th in the series of small mid-course correction burns, these impulse burns, using the Progress's thrusters, now complete. We are just about 640 meters away from the Progress arriving at its docking port on the space-facing side of the Russian segment of the station. That docking port was made available with the departure of the old 90 Progress cargo craft back on July 1st. It undocked, backed away, and a few hours later was deorbited by the Russian Flight Control Team for a destructive but harmless reentry over the Pacific Ocean. "579 meters separating Progress from the station, about 2.5 minutes until the beginning of the fly-around. Everything very quiet on board the International Space Station. The cosmonauts on board the complex focused on their procedures as they monitor the approach of the Progress 92 cargo craft, loaded with just a hair over 2.8 tons of food, fuel, and supplies for the crew members on board the International Space Station. This is a view of a Soyuz vehicle that is docked to the Prishal node module on the Earth-facing side of the International Space Station, and to the right, coming in to the field of view very clearly, is the Progress resupply craft. The Progress and station flying 260 miles over the South Pacific.
Есть начало облета 21:01:27.
21:01:27 is the start of the fly round.
And the Progress has now initiated its automated fly-around of the International Space Station. Again, this fly-around will be at a phase angle of about 15 degrees. The Corps' automated rendezvous system will bring the Progress to a point directly above the station's Poisk module for a very brief period of station keeping, allowing the Russian flight controllers to assess the alignment of the forward docking probe on Progress to the Poisk docking port. Just about 350 meters separating Progress from Poisk, closing at a rate now of about 0.8 of a meter per second. We're in a short handover between satellites on our tracking and data relay satellite system. We'll pick up this video from both the Progress and the station just a few minutes from now, well in time for the final approach and docking of the Progress to the Poisk module. Again, 2.8 tons of food, fuel, and supplies being carried to the station. Once the docking occurs, there will be a brief period where the relative motion between the two vehicles will dampen out against one another, allowing the forward docking probe to begin retracting and for Progress hooks to close around the Poisk docking mechanism to form a hard mate between the two vehicles. The cosmonauts on board are expected to begin about 90 minutes of leak checks to ensure that we have an airtight seal between the Progress and Poisk, and then it will be at the crew's discretion, the cosmonauts' discretion, as to whether they would begin the process of opening the hatch to Progress and beginning to unload its cargo, or simply wait until Sunday morning to do that. Progress and the station about to begin a southwest to northeasterly track that will carry the two vehicles over the coast of Chile and the Andes Mountains.
250 is the range, 045 is the range rate. Visually, I see it 1 cell away. Okay, copy.
All of the engine firings and the rendezvous maneuvers have been executed on time. No issues so far with the approach of the Progress for its docking to the International Space Station, docking about 23.5 minutes from now. The targeted docking time, 4:28 p.m. Central Time, 5:28 p.m. Eastern Time.
небольшое перемещение
We see a small shift
вправо,
to the right,
перекрестие, примерно на одну клетку от связки.
one cell away from
Again, we're in a brief handover between satellites on the tracking and data relay satellite system. We should be acquiring television once again from the station just a few minutes from now.
Ось связки в центре перекрестия.
Okay,
220.
range rate 220. Range rate is 015. We're continuing to monitor. Copy.
Периодически единичка пропадает.
There's the number one disappears occasionally.
Заходим.
Copy.
Плоскость станции, плоскость ферм, солнечной батареи.
The station plane, the
Полуплоскость.
we're
15, скорость 0,14.
215 is the range and 015 is the range rate. We're transitioning to the plane of the solar rays.
На формате
On the display, we see the range of 195. Copy.
The reports from the cosmonauts on board the station as they are looking at their data that shows a separation distance of just under 200 meters between Progress and the station. Progress continuing its fly around of the station. We're expecting a very brief period of station keeping about 6 minutes from now.
$210
210 is the range and 008 is the range rate. Copy.
We are just under 200 meters separating now the Progress 92 cargo craft and the International Space Station. Everything continues to go very smoothly. We're just about 6 minutes away from
Copy.
reacquiring a solid link between the International Space Station and our relay satellites.
Range is 205. Range rate is 007. It's in the upper semisphere. We're monitoring the automatic fly around. Copy.
Cosmonauts reporting that the fly around of Progress to align itself with the Poisk module continues to go very smoothly.
I am ready to work with the HEC mode. Copy. I'm activating the initial BTS. I am activating operation. Copy. We see the 4 LEDs. Sending the AGC command. Two indicators have not changed significantly. I am sending the AGC mode command again. Copy. We see the video has undergone the AGC mode transition. Range is 200 and range rate is 006. Copy. Sergey Nikolaevich, if there's no need to work with the AGC mode anymore, you can turn off the AGC mode off.
This is Mission Control Houston. The Progress 92 cargo craft, the unpiloted resupply vehicle, is in the home stretch of its two-day supply run to deliver just a shade over 2.8 tons of food, fuel, and supplies to the crew on board the International Space Station. The station and Progress have just crossed the coast of Chile, moving from southwest to northeast, about to begin a swing across the pampas of Argentina. In an orbit inclined 51.6 degrees to either side of the equator, we're moments away from reacquiring our television signal through the tracking and data relay satellite system.
Is a little up and to the right.
The Progress is wrapping up its fly around of the station to precisely align itself with the Poisk module.
And now we're going to
just about 180 meters separating the Progress from the docking port on the space-facing side of the International Space Station.
To the left. Copy.
The Progress is being guided through its core's automated rendezvous system. A short time ago, the cosmonauts in the Zvezda service module, Sergei Ryzhikov and Alexei Zubritsky, finished testing the Taurus system, the backup rendezvous system, the acronym standing for the telerobotically operated rendezvous system, that they would take over manual control of the flying of Progress in the unlikely event a problem would occur with cores. But so far, so good. With cores, it's locked on to its docking target, and all of the maneuvers for Progress are continuing in good shape. Standing by for the completion of the fly-around and the start of station keeping.
The depot thrusters are working along the roll axis, and the range rate is almost 0. 180 is the range. A notable copy.
And the Progress has completed its fly-around and now is nulled its rates and has begun a very brief period of station keeping at a distance of about 180 meters.
Early approach. Item 3.3 of the 4.9 of the radiogram 4972. We have 4 LEDs. I am activating display number 44. Left central and release. We confirm approach.
After a very brief period of station keeping, the Russian flight control team very happy with what they're seeing on the alignment of the forward docking probe on Progress with the Poisk module, and final approach has now been initiated. Docking expected about 14 minutes from now.
079, and they're accelerating. Depot off. We entered 08 for approach. 079 is the range rate according to the display. We do not clearly see the docking port yet, and we don't see the crosshairs yet. We don't see the target yet. Eliminating to the left. 13 minutes until the eclipse. 140 is the range. The range rate is the same.
And we're back with video now through our tracking and data relay satellite system. The view from the external cross-aired engineering camera on Progress in the lower left-hand corner, showing a distance between Progress and the station of just over 100 meters, closing at a rate now of 0.6 of a meter per second.
Range 120. Right now, pretty good conditions for observation. We see the docking port. 064 is the range rate. It has decreased. Copy. I copy all.
As mentioned previously, everything has gone very smoothly with the Progress 92 cargo craft since its launch on Thursday from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. All of the pre-programmed maneuvers of this automated journey for Progress have been executed one by one without any issue, as the Progress now in the final leg, final home stretch. And the good view of the Progress now from external cameras on the station as it closes final 100 meters, just about 80 meters now separating Progress from Poisk. At a distance of about 47 meters, just moments from now, Progress will conduct a routine braking thruster test as the docking system on the Progress will be activated.
I do not really see the target yet. About half a cell off. Copy.
Flying from southwest to northeast, 260 miles over eastern Brazil now. The Progress just 55 meters away from its destination.
Range is 50 meters. Range rate is 02.
Now just under 50 meters separating Progress from Poisk.
The target is almost in the center. It's a little bit shifted to the right and up by about half a cell. Copy. Target is shifted to the right by 1 cell. 02 is the range rate, and range is 45. Inaudible, copy. I'll copy.
From this camera angle, the Progress will be disappearing from view behind structure on the station.
Range is 40 meters, 018 range rate, and the target is shifted to the right by 1 cell. Copy.
And a good view now of Progress through another camera on the outside of the International Space Station. Less than 40 meters from docking. Closing at a rate of just over 1/10 of a meter per second.
Target is in the center. Range is 35 meters. The range rate is 013. Copy. 8 minutes until the eclipse. Docking port. I don't see the docking port too well, too clearly. I do not see any major offsets. 31 current range rate 031, 30 meters. I can execute the 30-meter range BPS command. 4 LEDs, I release it, and no longer illuminated, sending the back away enabled. See 4 LEDs. 4.
Again, the view from the Progress camera.
Current range is 20.
Less than 30 meters separating Progress from its port of call on the Poisk module at the space-facing side of the station's Russian segment, closing at a steady rate of just over 1/10 of a meter per second.
If you give me a go, I will try to use AGC mode again. Yes, I will give you a go.
The view that you saw just a second ago showed a diamond-shaped docking target right at the center of the crosshairs of the Progress's external camera. There it is in view once again. The Poisk docking port just above those crosshairs at the top of your view.
20-meter range. The target is in the center, and the misalignment is very minor. Copy all.
– 20 meters now separating Progress from Poisk. Everything looking good.
15 meters, showing as 17. So there is very minor misalignment between the crosshairs. Copy.
The Corps' automated rendezvous system doing what it's supposed to, guiding the Progress in for a precise alignment. The forward docking probe is extended. Everything is set for contact and capture just a few minutes from now.
Copy. Visually, the range is about 12 meters, but it's showing 15 to 16 meters, and the range rate is 009. The target is lower by half.
Approaching 10 meters of separation between Progress and Poisk.
Visually, the range is about 10 meters. It's showing as 12. 009 is the range rate, and the crosshairs are basically aligned. There is a little shift to along the yaw axis, a little bit shifted to the right.
The International Space Station in Progress now passing off the northeast coast of Brazil. Everything looking good.
The target is in the middle, and the crosshairs are aligned, and the misalignment is very, very minor. Inaudible. The video is not very clear. I am continuing to monitor. The target is a little lower by half a cell. Range is less than 3 meters.
Under 3 meters.
So alignment is
Everything's still looking good. Good alignment.
Right along the roll axis.
Standing by for contact and capture.
Range is about 1 meter. We're expecting contact. The range rate is
contact. Capture confirmed. Docking confirmed at 4:25 p.m. Central Time, 5:25 p.m. Eastern Time. Progress has arrived at the Poisk module of the International Space Station. Docking occurring 260 miles over the South Atlantic.
We're waiting for next instructions. Copy.
And the forward docking probe on Progress now beginning to retract to bring the two surfaces, the docking interfaces, if you will, between Progress and Poisk, flush against one another for the initiation of the closing of the hooks on Progress. Once again, docking occurring at 4:25 p.m. Central Time, 5:25 p.m. Eastern Time, as Progress and the space station flew 260 miles over the South Atlantic.
Retraction, and after that, we're going to perform the tour deactivation. Okay, I am waiting for your for the retraction. It's going to be about 8 minutes time. Okay, copy.
As we wait for the completion of the retraction of the forward docking probe and the relative motion between the two vehicles to dampen out, that will start the closing of the hooks for Progress to form a hard mate between it and the Poisk module. So the journey that began 2 days ago with its launch from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan is complete. 2.8 tons of food, fuel, and supplies being delivered to the residents on board the International Space Station. As we stand by for the final procedures to be completed with the Progress now docked to the International Space Station, a busy week lies ahead for the crew on board the International Space Station, the final week of activity for the Axiom 4 private astronauts on board. Once again, docking occurring just a couple of minutes ahead of schedule at 4:25 p.m. Central, 5:25 p.m. Eastern Time, as the Progress executed a flawless approach. All of the rendezvous milestones were conducted in perfect fashion. All of the pre-programmed automated engine firings to first raise the altitude of the Progress to match that of the International Space Station, culminating with a link up over the South Atlantic just a few minutes ago at 4:25 p.m. Central Time. Back here in the flight control room at Mission Control in Houston, the Orbit 2 team of flight controllers led by Flight Director Heidi Brewer, watching over the final procedures to link the Progress up to the International Space Station. And we now have confirmation that the Progress hooks have been closed. We have a hard mate between Progress and the International Space Station's POISC module to complete today's rendezvous activities. So with all of that work having been conducted in perfect fashion, we'll wrap up our coverage of the Progress's arrival at the International Outpost. Again, Progress 92 delivering 2.8 tons of food, fuel, and supplies to the residents on board the International Space Station, docking occurring on time, actually just a few minutes ahead of schedule at 4:25 p.m. Central Time, 5:25 p.m. Eastern Time. So with that, we'll wrap up our coverage for today. We hope you have an excellent remainder of your holiday weekend, and we'll invite you to join us back here in Mission Control very soon. Progress 92, rendezvousing and docking perfectly to the International Space Station. This is Mission Control Houston.